Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Tim McGonigal.
And I'm Keely Van Middendorp. First tonight at 10, George Floyd's life was eulogized and celebrated tonight as mourners and protesters alike vowed his violent death must bring change.
CBS News correspondent Skylar Henry has more from Minneapolis.
Mourners stood silent for 8 minutes and 46 seconds to honor George Floyd.
That's how long he was laying there. There's no excuse.
Family, friends, and civic leaders gathered in Minneapolis to pay tribute to Floyd at the first of several memorials planned for the coming days.
It's time for us to stand up in George's name and say, get your knee off our necks.
All these people came to see my brother, and that's amazing to me that he touched so many people's hearts.
Members of Congress and celebrities also attended the service for the 46-year-old father of two who came here to the city to start a new life.
Nearby, a judge set bail at $750,000 for each of the 3 fired Minneapolis police officers charged with aiding and abetting in Floyd's death. Former officer Derek Chauvin, who had his knee on Floyd's neck for more than 8 minutes, faces an upgraded charge of second-degree murder.
Had we marched peacefully, it never would have happened. There never would have been new charges. There never would have been a charge to begin with.
Demonstrators marched peacefully in Los Angeles on Thursday. But Les Miller's eyeglasses store is one of many area businesses looted over the last week.
These are opportunistic, I call them thugs, that take advantage of smoke screens, of people who are doing a peaceful demonstration for a cause.
And at a prayer vigil in New York City, George Floyd's younger brother urged calm on all sides.
I'm proud of the protest, but I'm not proud of the destruction.
Thousands walked over the Brooklyn Bridge chanting Floyd's name. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Minneapolis.
New at 10 Governor Steve Bullock directly addressed members of the media today on President Trump's assertion that the federal government will deploy active military personnel to address nationwide protests. Bullock called the idea, quote, gravely concerning, and noted that the current United States Secretary of Defense Mark Esper doesn't think it's a good idea either, saying as much at a Wednesday press conference. In order to deploy troops domestically that way, President Trump would have to invoke the Insurrection Act. Several states and Washington, D.C. have deployed members of the National Guard to assist local law enforcement with quelling unrest. Montana has not seen the level of protesting and rioting other areas of the country have. Bullock said at this time he's had no conversations about using the National Guard for Montana protests or sending deployments to other states.
When it comes to managing the crises or the unique circumstance of what's happening in our states, it really should be up to governors to determine what best fits their state's unique circumstances. And governors have been leaders throughout this global pandemic, and they'll be leaders through this crisis as well.
Bullock also said he has confidence in Montana law enforcement to work with protesters and community leaders for the safety of all.
Also from the governor's office, Montana will be expanding COVID-19 grant opportunities to help small businesses, local governments, and get more meat on Montana's people's tables. Governor Bullock announced Thursday an additional $25 million to the Small Business Stabilization Program. The program had already sent out more than $10 million to Montana businesses. Additional funding will go to local governments to cover COVID-19 related expenses. The governor also introduced the Montana Meat Processing Infrastructure Grant. The grant is aimed at helping small and medium-sized meat processors adapt to meet the supply demands of their community. Governor Bullock also announced increased testing across the state, including asymptomatic testing and more testing in tourism communities. Well, the number of confirmed coronavirus cases in Montana continues to climb tonight. Lewis and Clark Public Health says there are 2 new cases in the county. The county's first new cases in 8 weeks, pushing the county total to 18. The new cases are a 50-year-old man and a 54-year-old man who is a contact to a known case from Idaho. The Lewis and Clark cases are in addition to 14 new cases added in the state today. The state total now stands at 540. Turning now to weather, there's a chance some of us could see some severe weather over the next few days. Our Storm Tracker weather team is here to tell us more.
Grant Garland joins us now. Grant, not a bad idea to keep that umbrella handy.
You're right, and now that you mention it, I actually need to go buy one. I don't know. I like to be surprised. I have to do this all the time, and I say I have to. I love doing it, but it's just nice to be able to walk and be like, oh, look, it's raining. We do have a chance for some severe weather possible on Friday. Friday afternoon into the nighttime hours, we could be looking at an isolated severe thunderstorm, possibly bringing with it damaging wind gusts as well as lightning and quarter-sized hail. And then on Saturday, an even better chance for some severe weather, mainly though staying off towards the northeast of our state. Glasgow, Hayes, and Havre are in this. Now, Lewistown could still see a chance for an isolated severe thunderstorm, and we're going to talk about all that in a few minutes. But for the time being, we are looking at clouds rolling in, especially down towards Lewistown and Helena. We're going to be looking though at a partly cloudy night, staying dry. And just take a look at this view. Isn't it gorgeous? If only I had a glass of wine on a terrace. It's just it reminds me of Italy. I've never been, but I'd like to think that's what it looks like. Temperatures though 56 degrees. Now coming up, we're going to talk about how much rain we could potentially see over the next couple of days thanks to our next weather maker. But for now, back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Grant. Fun turns to tragedy at Sluice Boxes State Park. Tonight we're learning 20-year-old Dustin Quintanilla of Great Falls drowned in Belt Creek. Here's a look at the Belt Creek. This incident happened yesterday. He and some friends decided to swim across the creek to jump from a cliff. Quintanilla was swept away from the group in the current and went underwater. He was found roughly 250 yards downstream on the shoreline. His friends immediately began CPR until deputies, FWP, and Belt EMS arrived. But by the time they arrived, it was too late. Officials want to remind everyone while the temperatures may be warm, the water is still very cold and moving fast, and they encourage you to use extreme caution when going near or in the water.
And a man involved in a crash between Great Falls and Helena on Saturday has died from his injuries. Malmstrom Air Force Base said on Wednesday evening that Airman First Class Stephen R. Gordon, a defender with the 341st Security Forces Squadron, died Tuesday night. The crash happened on I-15 between Cascade and Craig. According to the Montana Highway Patrol, Gordon crashed into the Jersey barrier that separates the northbound and southbound lanes and spun out of control. He was then hit by a car. He was taken to Benefice Health System here in Great Falls, where he passed away on Tuesday night. There is no indication at this point that alcohol or speed were factors in the crash, nor whether any citations or charges will be issued. The investigation is continuing. Well, coming up on the 10 o'clock news, with fears of COVID-19 spreading, we talk to health experts about breastfeeding and whether or not breast milk can transfer the virus from mother to child.
That story is next.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. The 10 o'clock news continues on KRTV, Montana's news leader.
Welcome back. While restaurants and bars could reopen weeks ago due to adequate space for social distancing, the intimate nature of places of worship kept many church doors closed. And now that Phase 2 has started, some have church services. Victory Church resumed their in-person services last Sunday with the addition of some sanitation and social distancing measures. Now, when churchgoers come on Sunday, they will have to sanitize, sit 6 feet apart from other families or groups, and take their children with them into the adult service, as children's ministries are currently on hold. Church leadership will also have safer alternatives for traditional communion and tithing practices like individual portions, online offering, and individual envelopes for in-person tithes. Pastor Gary Hart shared why Victory Church chose to resume their in-person Sunday services.
Recently, when Governor Bullock began to move us towards Phase 2, we realized that we could probably go ahead and step into in-person services as long as we were doing some level of social distancing, disinfecting protocols.
Those protocols will remain in place this Sunday should anyone choose to attend either of Victory Church's services at 9 and 11 a.m.
In our Health Watch tonight, COVID-19 can be transmitted from person to person, usually after close contact with an infected patient. Since breastfeeding your baby can be a very close and intimate practice, we wanted to know if a child could become infected with COVID-19 through a mother's breast milk. MTN's Caitlin Boycell has the story.
According to the CDC, if you're breastfeeding and have symptoms of the virus or have COVID-19, there are steps you can take to prevent the spread of the virus to your child.
If she really doesn't feel comfortable breastfeeding her baby during that time, an option would be to have her express that or pump her milk and have somebody that's healthy feed that baby that breast milk.
And that's where milk banks come in. We spoke with Jessica Wellborn, who's the executive director for the Mother's Milk Bank of Montana. She explains how even before COVID-19, they had strict sanitation guidelines.
Before COVID-19, we have really strict procedures and policies in place. We pasteurize all of our milk in a lab here on site, and whenever milk is being pasteurized, the amount of sort of like disinfectant and wipe downs that is used, with every batch of milk that's pasteurized, is pretty strict. Anybody pasteurizing milk has to wear a lab coat, a face mask, gloves, some kind of eye protection or eye covering.
She also explains with the amount of time that it takes for COVID to show up, they have no way of knowing if breast milk can be infected.
There's no way to completely ensure, that COVID-19 never entered a milk bank, whether it was through an employee or through somebody's donor milk. That being said, because there's absolutely no evidence thus far to show that COVID-19 can pass through breast milk.
According to the CDC, they do not know whether mothers with COVID-19 can transmit the virus via breast milk. However, they do say to continue breastfeeding should be determined by the mothers in coordination with their healthcare providers. Health officers for Cascade County, Tricia Gardner, says breastfeeding your child is the best way to prevent diseases down the line.
So yeah, breastfeeding your child is going to be one of the best things that you can do to set up their immune system to be a healthy immune system. So we really do encourage new parents and moms to breastfeed their child whenever it's feasible.
Reporting in Great Falls, Caitlin Boycell, MTN News.
Thanks, Caitlin. Cascade County also has lactation consultants you can call. The milk bank says since COVID-19 started, they've seen an increase in donations.
Well, we're looking at a lot of showers and thunderstorms firing up along a warm front tomorrow afternoon. How much rain can we be expecting those for the next couple of days? Well, I'll tell you all about that and more coming up after this break.
Thanks.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you have had a fantastic Thursday evening. Very peaceful and calm out there for our viewing area. Not so much for the folks down and around Billings, where we've seen a few showers and thunderstorms, but really everywhere else from Glasgow on out to Cut Bank down to Great Falls and over towards Helena, we have seen a dry and mostly clear night. Great Falls, 56 degrees, looks absolutely pitch perfect out there. 63 in Helena, 61 in Fort Benton, and a little bit cooler out in Lewistown at 56 degrees. Elsewhere, well, we are looking at temperatures right around that 52 mark in Malta, 64 in Glasgow, out towards Havre, 57 and 53 in Wolf Point. Now today, we did get up to around 76 degrees for our friends in Helena. The average is around 72, so not too shabby there. And for our record set back in 1988 when it was 97 degrees, that was also the year that a gallon of gas costs around $91 cents, if I recall. We have been looking at a low pressure in Wyoming, accompanying it stationary front, allowing for showers to really fire up along the boundary. And this is going to cause a problem because as we go into tomorrow, we're going to be looking at a setup for some potential isolated severe thunderstorms. These severe thunderstorms will be bringing with them damaging wind gusts, lightning, as well as quarter-sized hail. And we're looking at our time frame really Friday afternoon, tomorrow afternoon through the nighttime hours. But then on Saturday, we're going to even have a better setup as we're going to be seeing Havre, Hayes, and Glasgow all in the area for a medium chance for severe weather. So don't worry, we're going to keep you up to date and weather aware as we head throughout this weekend. Why are we looking at the situation we are? Well, first off, we are going to be looking at partly cloudy skies tonight, but as we zoom out, the instigator is right down here in Oregon right now, low pressure accompanying with it a warm front. Now, as we go throughout the day tomorrow, I kind of put this over also the chance for severe weather where you see the darker green. This warm front is going to interact with the ingredients in the atmosphere, and as it does so, we'll be able to kick up showers and thunderstorms right around this time. But as low pressure gets closer to Havre, this is around 6 a.m. Saturday. Notice how that warm front is creeping up towards the yellow. It is setting the stage for an active weather day on Saturday, especially starting off in the afternoon. This is when we're expecting storms to start kicking off. And really, as we go throughout the hours, I mean, just look at this, some of these mean colors, and we're going to be looking at also that with this trailing cold front, showers and thunderstorms around Bozeman, up towards Lewistown, Great Falls, and Cupbank. So we are going to be looking at an active weekend, but we're going to get through it together. Now, as far as what we're expecting with rain totals, we could be looking at close to half an inch of rain here in the Electric City, down towards the capital, just shy of 0.4 of an inch of rain, and out towards Lewistown, 0.64 inches of rain. And with our winds gusting, we are expecting our winds to be breezier throughout the day tomorrow. This is around 2 p.m. Notice how we see our winds really shift up towards the northeast part of the state, and that's due to that low pressure making its way through the area. Now, you can always stay weather aware by following me at Meteorologist Grant Garland on Facebook, and you can always download that free KRTV app. We're always up there, Jason and I, making sure that it is staying up to date. As far as our temperatures tonight, 47 degrees in Great Falls, 44 in Lewistown, 45 in Havre. Tomorrow we are looking at temperatures warming up to around 80 degrees, storms late. By Saturday, showers and thunderstorms likely, as well as on Monday. So heads up, have that umbrella with you wherever you go tomorrow. And also on, also just remember, tomorrow, chance for showers and thunderstorms late. Tim, Keely.
Thanks, Grant. Well, last week, MTN News told you about free produce boxes available to the public. The Salvation Army of Great Falls was selected to distribute the produce as part of Congress's recently passed Coronavirus Farm Assistance Program. Today, organizers and volunteers passed out the second round of USDA food boxes after driver lines led to traffic jams last week at the Holiday Village Mall. Leaders changed up the location and decreased the number of boxes given away from 1,500 to roughly 100. There was no guarantee everyone would drive away with fresh produce, but many drivers said they were just thankful for the opportunity.
Are you worried about getting a box this week?
I'd like to have one, but it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world.
Leaders say they're looking at other venues for another mass distribution like Montana Expo Park, but this week's giveaway came too quickly to get plans solidified with county officials. The Salvation Army has partnered with a number of agencies to distribute the remaining boxes. We have a list of those agencies on our websites.
In the last 2 months, the Great Falls Community Food Bank has nearly doubled the amount of food they've given out to the roughly 70 agencies they serve. The food pantries at Great Falls Public Schools are stocked in large part by the food bank. MTN's Shannon Newth was there as Whittier Elementary received a donation.
Today's the day.
Whittier Elementary is getting a special delivery.
It's a big bag of potato chips.
Food for the school's pantry.
Doritos.
Oh, please love those.
Since schools were closed due to coronavirus, Whittier's seen an increase of families needing food.
Snacks for the kids.
We have parents that have woken up and they're out of a job, and all of a sudden. And so the need is greater.
And then we normally fill this up entirely with pantry food.
Right now, they need more space, so the gym is serving as the pantry and food box assembly station.
Thank you so much. You're welcome.
Normally, Whittier gives out around 1,000 pounds of food per month from the food bank.
Now we're pushing out about 1,800 pounds a week, up to 81 boxes.
It's a well-oiled machine of teamwork to get the food organized and boxed up for students and families in the Whittier community.
Oh, and we got a big bag of chips right here.
Our families are so grateful. If they don't need it, they don't take it. And sometimes some of our families, if there's things that they have purchased and their kiddos won't eat, they'll bring it in and donate it, and maybe another family will take it.
In Great Falls, Shannon Newth, MTN News.
And here at MTN, we want to make sure the community is fed in the wake of coronavirus and support the efforts of those working to do that. That's why our parent company, Scripps, is donating $12,000 to the food bank, and we're challenging you, the community, to match that donation. So far, $3,300 has been donated. If you'd like to help, you can give the food bank a call. Legion Baseball is back on Friday night.
How tomorrow's game returns a sense of normalcy to the sport.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. The 10 o'clock news continues on KRTV, Montana's news leader.
And welcome back. Well, this week, Montana moved into phase 2 of the reopening process.
MTN's John Miller reports that Legion Baseball can now have more fans in the stands.
I'm here at Heroes Park where this Friday night they can finally have some fans in these stands, not just family members. So if you're missing sports like the rest of us, get on out and watch some baseball.
It makes for a really fun atmosphere to have some rowdy folks down here cheering us on, and you know, our community really supports us.
As we moved into phase 2 on Monday, the Bucks can now have up to 500 people in their stadium, which is more than they usually draw even without social distancing guidelines.
I think we'll probably get close to that, especially early, as there's not a lot else going on. So I think we'll have some fans here, and if we get close to that number, that should make for a pretty fun atmosphere.
With slightly less games this year, the community support will help the team fund everyday expenses. Ticket sales and concessions make up 30% of their revenue.
It allows us to improve our field. It allows us to travel. You know, we have a pretty nice bus. We have equipment, the cost of baseballs, umpires, coaches, the whole deal.
Even though they don't have to take many precautions, the Bucks have plans in place to keep fans socially distant.
The concession stand, we got to keep people distanced there. There's going to be an option to put your order in and then go sit down and actually have it delivered. We're opening up multiple exits so that not everybody is bottlenecked at the same time as we leave the facility. Sanitizing stations throughout the ballpark. Still very limited on what gear we share in the dugout.
For Schultz, he's excited to show the town what the defending state champions are made of.
We want to represent our community well and you know, be proud of the product we put on the field and show it off a little bit.
In Bozeman, John Miller, MTN Sports.
And stick around, we have a final look at your forecast after the break.
As we go throughout the day tomorrow, starting us off 49 degrees, mostly cloudy skies, warming up to 76 though by 7 p.m., also allowing for a chance for an isolated severe thunderstorm or two. Saturday, showers and thunderstorms likely, severe thunderstorms out towards Glasgow.
Well, if a pandemic wasn't enough, the universe has another curveball for us. There's a giant asteroid heading toward Earth this Saturday, and it's about the size of a football stadium. The good news is it won't hit us.
Now, the asteroid is called 2002 NN4, and it's hurtling in our direction at about 20,000 miles per hour. NASA has been keeping an eye on this one for a while. They say it will stay about 3 million miles away. Still, that's close enough to make their close approach list. We were just thinking maybe a more appropriate name would be 2020.
Yeah, there you go.
I have no words for
all this. Yeah, well, that's all the time we have tonight at 10. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great rest of your evening.
Good night.